Hello, welcome to Dungeon Dwellers Podcast. I'm your host, Justin. Sorry if I sound tired. It was just one of those nights last night. Yeah. Today we're going to review Prom Night, which is a 1980 film starring Jamie Lee Curtis, Leslie Nielsen, and a bunch of Canadian actors. I didn't know this movie was a Canadian slasher film, but then I guess it makes sense since it's Leslie Nielsen's in it. Um, the director is Paul Lynch. Yeah, so like one of the reasons why I wanted to watch this movie, besides from the fact that all my horror movies, pretty much all my really good horror movies, are in storage and I don't have access to them. So what I did have, I had this fucking Echo Bridge horror movie collection, which comes with 29 films. And I'm going through the list of the movies back here. One of the only good ones, at least movies I heard were good, is the Prom Night. And one of the reasons why people like, what makes this movie good, like, is that people always talk about the Tom Savini, um, like special makeup effects, right? Because people don't know who Tom Savini is. He's this guy who was a photographer in Vietnam, so he took a lot of gore shots. Basically, he took a lot of gore shots and then incorporated what he saw from those images into his work. I just checked out Wikipedia. Apparently, he didn't even fucking work on this movie, which is like, Jesus Christ. I feel like a retard. But like, I swear to God, I fucking heard people say that Tom Savini worked on this movie. Though, like, honestly, if you the horror effects in this movie, besides from the very last kill in the movie, they don't particularly look that great because it's just people getting their throats slit like half the time. The story of this movie is basically four kids. I guess they would have been like 11 or 12 years old at the time. One boy, three girls play this game in this abandoned school, I think, or some kind of abandoned building. And I don't know what fucking game they're playing. Like, I think they kept saying kill the killer, and like the one girl gets chose as the killer, and they chase her around the building, and then she falls out of a window and gets killed, right? And the three, no, the four remaining kids decide to keep it a secret uh, and leave. Unbeknownst to them, you see this shadow over the corpse of the little girl, and it's implied that someone was there and saw the whole thing, right? And the shadow looked like a full-grown man. So like 6 years later, it's prom night. You have these bunch of these teenage characters getting ready for prom. Uh, Two of which are the brother and sister of the dead girl, whose parents, the dad is played by Leslie Nielsen, is the principal at the school, and the Jamie Lee Curtis plays Kim, who's the sister of the dead girl, Robin, I think is her name. Um, yeah, this I'm just checking something. So the movie basically follows the sister, her brother, and her four friends, which are basically the people who killed her sister. And like, yeah, there's basically, the movie is basically, you're following these characters. They have teenage problems, you know. The popular guy at school is like dumped the most dumps his girlfriend, who's like the hottest girl at school, for Kim, who's like, you know, for whatever reason, even though like Jamie Lee Curtis, you know, besides from 2 movies, you wouldn't exactly call her attractive. And those 2 movies are True Lies and that movie where she played a hooker in that, what was it called, Trading Places, with Dan Aykroyd and was it called Trading Places? Dan Aykroyd and Eddie Murphy? Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, whatever. um, and there's like a girl who's like kind of dumb. She befriends this fat guy. I thought that fat guy was pretty funny in the movie. You actually see him fight the killer, and like he punches him and sends him fucking flying, which was, I thought was fucking awesome. Like, wow, you have a fat guy in a fucking horror movies kicking ass, and then he dies in a pretty fucking cool way, actually. Like, there's a fight on a moving van, and then the guy, despite the fact they were like in the middle of a forest, it looked like, I guess there was like a random cliff for the van to fucking drive off of and crash and explode. And it didn't look like they used a model. It looked like they used a real van and blew it up, which was pretty cool, considering most movies either use models or like you have that one fucking Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves directed like a kung fu movie, and there's a scene where a car crashes, and it's like, it's all fucking CGI. Yeah, the movie was called Trading Places. That was 1983, so yeah, like 3 years after this movie. Yeah, this movie, despite it taking place in 1980, felt very much like a 70s movie. Let me just pause for a sec. Yeah, there's a lot of like 70s fashion, 70s hair, lots of disco music. I think the most famous song in the movie is I just forgot. Wasn't that wasn't that Stay Alive song? Fuck. I can't remember, but whatever. The 70s disco music, I don't know. There was like 1 or 2 songs that were like, okay, this isn't bad, but yeah. What made this movie so cool to me is that it reminded me a lot of that 90s movie, I Know What You Did Last Summer, because throughout the movie, like, the killer is calling the 4 kids who murdered the girl. He's doing that creepy like girly voice from, if you ever seen that movie Black Christmas. So this movie was obviously inspired by Black Christmas. So if people don't know, Black Christmas was pretty much like the first like slasher horror movie, pretty much. Even though people say Psycho, I guess Psycho is, but like Black Christmas like inspired other people to do that slasher, you know, horror movie thing. Like, even there's like if you ever watched the behind the scenes for Black Christmas, like the guy got a call from like John Carpenter, and he's like, if you were to ever do like a Black Christmas 2, what would you do? And he's like, oh, I would set it in Halloween, and Billy would escape the sanitarium and go on a murder spree. So basically, basically, according to the director of fucking Black Christmas, John Carpenter stole the idea of Halloween from him. Which is fucking, holy fuck. I actually really don't like Halloween 1 or 2. I love John Carpenter's movies like They Live and Escape from New York, but I don't know. I don't really like Halloween 1 or 2. I prefer, if I'm in the mood to watch Halloween, I prefer watching those Rob Zombie movies. So yeah, like, I really like the whodunit feel for this movie. The characters aren't so bad. Even the bully kid in the movie, I forget his name, but he's like, he has black hair and he's rocking the Liam Gallagher look, which is like a unibrow. This guy has a fucking unibrow and like does not give a fuck. Just constantly flirting with girls. He tries to kiss Kim in the lunchroom, and like her brother shows up, and like they have this huge brawl in the cafeteria, which is the word I was forgetting. They have a huge brawl in the cafeteria. That's honestly wasn't shot the greatest. Wasn't shot the greatest. Then they get taken to like the principal's office, and like obviously the bully character's like, oh, you're gonna take the side of your son, who's comes off very like autistic in the movie. You're gonna take the side of your son. And he's like, yeah, you're right. Fuck you. Fuck you. And he fucking expels him, but he can still go to prom for whatever reason. Yeah. Yeah, I would say I thought the twist was pretty good. I honestly thought the killer was going to be Leslie Nielsen. Uh, just because there's a point in the movie when the prom night happens that he fucks off and he doesn't show up like in the movie ever again, even at the very end. There's this stupid fucking subplot where there's like this escape like sex offender burn victim from some like from insanitarium, and then the cops and the psychiatrist are think he's the one that's like is going to show up at the school to kill people or whatever. I don't fucking know. Like apparently he did kill like there some girl does die early on in the movie that I don't think has any relation to this, to the four girls, the four kids, sorry, who killed the girl. So yeah, I think that was just like, you know, like a red herring, or not a red herring, just basically like a fake lead to make you think, you know, that it wasn't going to be someone in the movie, you know, one of the cast members who's the killer, which, you know, it's a whodunit, so of course it has to be, the killer has to be somebody that you previously know. So like obviously, I would say if you're going to get this movie, I would give it like a 6 out of 10. It's pretty good, but it is dated. I honestly I watched it in the worst way possible, because they did no restoration, so the movie I'm watching, it looks like shit. The picture quality looks like shit. There's no subtitles, so I pretty much had and I'm somewhat hard at hearing, so which is why I talk loud. So it's like I'm trying to figure out what the fuck is going on in this fucking movie when I'm having trouble understanding what people are saying. But yeah, like I don't know, dude. I thought the movie was good. This it reminded me of one of my favorite horror comedies, which is Cabin Fever 2, which takes place on Prom Night as well. If you haven't seen the Cabin Fever movies, I would say the first two are good. Don't watch the other ones. They look like shit.